Hello there and welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm delighted that you're here with me today, and today we are going to be talking breast pumps. Which pump to use, how do I know which one to use, which one is the best for me, how do I know which one I should choose, should I buy before I have my baby, should I buy after baby, how do I know? Well, I'm going to help you make some choices because breast pumps can be expensive, and obviously babies in general come with a pretty hefty price tag with all of the paraphernalia and equipment that you end up buying for them. So I want to make sure that you're making an informed decision when it comes to what you're purchasing. For those of you we have not yet met, hello there, my name is Maria and I am the owner and founder of The New Mummy Company. We are based here in Oakville, Ontario, and we provide services proudly to parents right across Canada and internationally. I've been working with moms and babies for 20 years, and so working with breast pumps is something that I do pretty much on a daily basis. So I'm happy to be able to share some of my knowledge with you today. So we're going to get started first of all with the question that we get asked a lot. Should I buy a pump before I have my baby? And the real answer to that is, well, it depends on what you're planning to do. Are you planning to pump? Are you planning to breastfeed? Are you going back to work early? There's so many questions around what you're going to do to be able to feed your baby. And remember, there's no wrong or right answer as to how you choose to feed your baby. You make the decision on how you want to feed your baby based on your circumstances, nobody else's. So if you are planning to pump, then yes, it probably does make good decision making to purchase a pump before you have your baby. If you are planning to return to work and would like to continue feeding your baby your breast milk, then again, it probably makes a good choice to have your pump ready. If you're planning to feed your baby exclusively breast milk and you're planning to return to work early, then I would suggest something like the Ameda Platinum, which is a hospital grade breast pump. This will allow you not only to initiate your supply, but also to be able to build and increase and maintain the supply that you're going to need to be able to exclusively breastfeed your baby your breast milk by giving them pumped milk. If, however, you haven't made a decision on how you're going to feed your baby, or if you're just not sure, then there is no real urgent need to purchase a pump before baby arrives. Because if you plan to breastfeed, and if breastfeeding goes extremely well, which it can do, you might not actually end up needing a pump at all. Or if you have purchased a pump and you're only pumping very, very rarely, you may have spent over and above what you actually need to spend. So I'm going to break down some of the pumps that are on the market. All of these pumps are available here either for rent or for purchase with us. So these are pumps that we're dealing with on a daily basis, and we're very familiar with them. I will say that there are some new pumps that are about to come onto the market. So we don't have those in stock just yet. We're waiting for that launch. But when they come in, we'll do another video and we'll include them in the options that we have for you. So I'm going to start off first and foremost with a hand pump. So this is the Medela. This is their Harmoney single pump, and this is a hand pump. And more often than not, you're going to be using this if you just want to be able to relieve some pressure, you want to take off some extra milk if you find that you've got a little extra milk, or you just want to have the occasional opportunity to be able to give baby some of your milk, or you'd like to just put a little into the freezer. It is a hand pump, so there's no battery, there's no plug, there's no electricity, and it is operated by your hand. So with this pump, you're probably not going to be pumping very often because there is a lot of work involved, because it is hand operated and it's also a single pump. And so therefore, being hand operated and being a single pump, you cannot pump both sides at one time, and it is going to take a little bit longer. Now, some people do really well with a hand pump and they can get a lot of milk quite quickly, but obviously it makes sense to determine what your needs are before you're purchasing a pump, because if you spend some money on this and then you realize you need a double pump, then you probably don't have use for this. So we want to make sure that you're purchasing according to your needs. And very often that's why people will rent a pump to determine what their needs are before they make that purchase, because then they're really knowing that they're purchasing the pump for their exact needs. Moving along then, I'm sure that most of you have heard of the Haakaa, the trusty Haakaa. There's a couple of new versions of the Haakaa, but they all perform in the same way. And it kind of goes on like a Mexican hat. Bend it back, place it on the breast, and then suction it on. And this is a really great pump if you tend to leak while you're feeding, or if you tend to leak and drip while baby cries, or if you have a single pump that you have purchased but maybe realized that it wasn't the best purchase for you, but you don't want to spend any extra money in a large way, then you could use the Haakaa on one side while you hand pump from the other, or single pump from the other. It's a really great pump to have, and I am going to call it a pump because I do believe that it's a pump for those people who leak, and there are a lot of moms who leak quite a lot. Now, it is obviously not battery or operated in any way, shape or form. It does perform by suction, so it can take a little while if you don't leak, or if you tend not to let down a lot when you feed on one side, when baby's on one side, and then you don't let down on the other side. So again, it makes sense to understand what your needs are before you're purchasing, but these are very popular as gifts, and they really can be a lifesaver if you have a lot of leakage in terms of your letdown, because we don't want to waste any of that milk. It's such liquid gold, we don't want to lose any of it. So the last single pump that we have is the Medela Swing. And so this is a battery operated pump, and it does come with an electricity option as well. It is a single pump, and so therefore, again, it's not designed for very frequent pumping. It's not designed for somebody who's needing to produce a lot of milk. It can really help to be able to plug it in, charge it up, and use it on battery power, and be able to use it as you need to on an infrequent basis. So somebody who's maybe pumping a couple of times a week at most. As you can see, as a single pump, you are going to only be able to single pump. You're not going to be able to double pump. And that's one question that we get asked a lot about these pumps is, can I make it a double pump? Well, the answer is no. A single pump can only ever be a single pump. A double pump, however, can be used as a single pump. So a lot of people will pump while baby feeds on one side so that they can express on the other side, and then they can have that for dad to give, granny to give, or to put it into the freezer. And that's a great way to be able to boost your supply while baby's feeding on one side. Or if you're in a rush and you know that you only have time to feed on one side, you can pump on the other side, and then somebody can give the milk that you've pumped from the other side. But the downsides of all of the single pumps is that it is a little bit more time consuming because you can only pump one side at each time. So that's something to take into consideration. Obviously, from a cost perspective, any of the single pumps and the hand pumps, they are the cheapest option. And so if cost is a real factor for you, then that obviously is something that you have to take into consideration, and you have to purchase according to your means. But again, we want to make sure that you're not spending money and then regretting. So if you are purchasing a single pump, you want to make sure that you're only going to be pumping quite infrequently. And of course, sometimes that decision is hard to make before baby has arrived, because we can't predict how well baby's going to feed, if there's going to be any feeding issues, etc. So moving on then to the double pumps, like we mentioned earlier, there is a number of hospital grade double pumps on the market. But let's say you've had your double pump, or you don't want to rent a pump, or maybe you've had a double pump as a rental and now you're ready to return it, and you've made your decision on what you need to purchase. So you say, okay, I'm saying goodbye to the hospital grade pump. I no longer need that pump. Now it's time to focus on choosing a double pump because I'm pumping more regularly, pumping more frequently, or you've managed to establish your supply, you've got your supply up to a level that you're comfortable with, but you are still double pumping and you're pumping quite frequently. So here we have the Ameda Finesse. This is a great little pump, and one of the benefits of working with any of the Ameda pumps is that their kits are completely interchangeable. So if you've had one Ameda pump, you can use the kit in any of the other pumps, which means that it is a big cost saving. The Ameda Finesse is a very easy to use and very good double pump. It has two options on the front in terms of speed and suction, so you can completely customize the suction and the speed to your needs, so that every feeding session that you have, every pumping session that you have, you can customize it, because every pumping session will be different. In the morning you might have quite a lot of supply, in the evening you might have less supply. In the evening, if you're tired, you maybe don't want to have as much suction because it feels a little bit more tender, or in fact you might need more suction because your milk supply is that bit lower in the evening. So a pump like this will allow you to be able to customize it to your needs. So here we have the speed and here we have the suction, and you can adjust accordingly. And again, with any of the electrical operated pumps, you want to find what we call maximum level of comfort. So that means you're turning the suction up to a level where it starts to hurt, and we come down at least one notch, if not two, so that it is never hurting, it is never painful. If you are pumping where it hurts, something is not right. Mother Nature made sure to send us those alarm bells, so never pump in an uncomfortable situation. In other videos that we've covered in the past, we talk about the size of the breast shield. So it may be that if it's hurting you, the breast shield size may be incorrect. So go check that out if you are looking for information on how to choose the right size for you. So this is a double pump by Ameda, and then we also have just one of the Medela pumps today. There are a number of double pumps on the market from Medela, and today we're just going to cover one, which is one of their most recent pumps. This is their Sonata pump, and this is a double pump, and it comes with some quite good technology that they have put in, which is designed to be able to mimic breastfeeding and mimic babies feeding. And so basically what that means is that it's their two-phase technology, which allows the baby to, when the baby goes to the breast and the baby sucks very, very frequently, but isn't taking any big swallows at this stage. They're sort of more fluttery in their sucking, and they're usually quite noisy, and there's usually quite a bit of as they get to the breast initially. So that's the beginning phase. You can manually press the button and you can take it into the letdown phase, or you can have it turn over automatically, and it sets on a timer and it will do that automatically. And that is where we have those deep, long sucks that the baby will feed on when the milk has let down. So that's where we have suck, suck, swallow, and those are the deep, deep sucks, and then the swallow comes after every 1 to 2, maybe 3 sucks, and that means the baby is sucking, getting milk, sucking, getting milk, and then swallowing. So they're taking good amounts of milk when they are swallowing. A double pump like this is at the higher end of the price range. So in Canada, you're looking at approximately $500. They can vary in price from retailer to retailer, and we would suggest that you do not purchase any of the retail pumps secondhand for safety reasons. We'll cover that in another video. But I think the most important thing to realize is that they are single user pumps. They're not designed to be shared for safety, obviously health reasons. And because they're expensive, we know that people are sometimes thinking that they can get a good deal and that they can get one of these pumps secondhand. Do your homework and do your research to understand why it's not a good idea. A lot of the times when you purchase new equipment, so the tubing and the bottles and the flanges, you think that that's enough, but just do your homework on a word of caution on that, to do your homework and make sure that you're aware of the risks on that. So like I said, this is at the higher end of the price range in terms of retail pumps that are available for purchase. So you want to make sure that you're purchasing accordingly. And what I mean by that is, if you're going to be purchasing a double pump such as the Sonata, you really want to make sure that you are pumping quite frequently and that you're pumping regularly and that you need a pump of this nature, because otherwise that money could be well invested in other things for the baby if it's not going to be used as much as you would think. So that's why it can be a good idea to wait until baby has arrived, and then you can see what it is that you need in terms of a pump. So that's it in a nutshell for you today. I hope you have found this video helpful. We would love to hear your comments on which pump you've purchased and why you decided to purchase that pump. And let us know, did you purchase before baby came? Was it a good idea? Or did you purchase after baby came? And why did you do it that way? So we'll be back next Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern, with another video for you. And I can't wait to see you at that time. And until then, have a wonderful day and good luck with all your breastfeeding and your baby journey. And I will see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.